And we're back with another episode of the Lakers Fast Break podcast. It's Gerald Glassford coming right back at you here from Lakers Fast Break, Pop Culture Cosmos, where we cover the latest news and trends in pop culture each and every week, twice a week, wherever you get your podcasts. This week's episode of the Pop Culture Cosmos for our Friday edition, it's the state of pro wrestling. John Orlando from the PVD cast, my good friend, and I cover the world of pro wrestling. We talk about AEW, WWE, all the things that went on this past weekend, plus what's up ahead this summer. So find out what's going on in the state of pro wrestling right there for you. For audio listeners, coming up on Friday, right there for you on Apple Podcasts and Spotify, where you can find the Lakers Fast Break, or it's on its own channel, the Pop Culture Cosmos channel on YouTube. What's up, Vari? Sorry, Vari. Got to go back to Indiana, man. Going back to Indiana. Home again. Well, I'm not going to go ahead and sing it, but they do every year at the Indianapolis 500. So back home again in Indiana and all that type of stuff. Yes, back home in Indiana for Game 6. But also as well, John Costas here. Go ahead and hit up him at Clutch Talk and Lakers Corner when you like and subscribe. Legend is here. I've got Next Sports Media. All these great people, all these great things. The Lakerholics crew, they're not dead. They're at Lakerholics.com. So you can go ahead there and just, even if you want to troll Laker Tom, go ahead and do so. I'm sure he wouldn't mind at this point in time of the year. Go ahead, Lakerholics.com. Empire Jeff, he was on. He talked some Dodgers. He talked some Lakers. And of course, the Joe Soro channel. Joe and I were on last night for 2 hours. Well, he was on for 2 hours, about an hour and a half for me. We were discussing the Dodgers and also as well the NBA playoffs. So go ahead and check out the Joe Soro channel as well on YouTube. All these great people, all these great places, all these great things. Like and subscribe, but also I was having a chat with people on playback. I was having to answer a question on YouTube. Why don't you guys do shows 7 days a week? You guys really fell off. I'm on playback every single day for hours in the chat or live.
Tell him.
Joe is still doing 3 hours a week on his channel, and I pop on there. We're still doing 2 to 3 shows a week. John comes and does one of his shows on this channel and his channels.
Yes.
So
we are still here.
The idea, you're still here. We have not fallen off. I took great offense to that. The thing is, you guys have to make it sustainable for us to survive. I got Next Sports Media. He needs subscribers. He needs views. John Costa, he needs subscribers. He needs views. Guess what? I need subscribers and I need views. What we have right now, take a look at our numbers. It's not enough. We're not going to BS you guys. We never have, and we never will. So if you want to see us 7 days a week, you want us to take time away from our families 365 days a year, our work commitments, our any other commitments that we have in life, you have to make it sustainable for us as YouTube individuals. It's just that simple. And it starts with a like, a subscribe. You guys are here sometimes for 2 hours. You know who you are who don't hit the like button that are here for 2 hours. You know who you are. You know. And I know. Well, actually, I don't really know 100%, but I have a good idea. But you know. Please like and subscribe. Tell friends out there that are Lakers fans, NBA fans, sports fans, even if they just want to see someone that'll piss them off in Joe Soro when he comes on the channel. Anyone that will go ahead and come on this channel as far as watch it, be a regular member, can comment. Yes, exactly. Sports baby. I couldn't have said it better myself. And thank God, you're an Australian, my friend, because I think you get away with it more than I could if I said it. But again, it is up to you for the long-term sustainability of this channel, of John's channel, of Legends channel. We can't keep doing what we're doing as much as we're doing it without your help. I mean, it's just that simple. So please come and support us. And if you have anyone out there that likes what we do or could like what we do, please go ahead and tell us to support us. And last but not least, if you are on the West Coast of the United States and you have a radio station that you think would be a good fit for us, we're thinking about it again. I know we talked about it before, kind of cooled off on the idea, but it's now a little warm again because we're trying to keep this channel viable. If you think we're good enough as far as for a 2 or 3 hour stint on your local radio station, let them know. Right here from all of us, the Lakers Fast Break. Sports Baby says, if you're cheap, hit the like button.
That was hilarious. I was just gonna say that.
That's funny, right there.
That's so funny.
Hit the like button. Subscribe is free. You know that's the only price he seems to like. Because again, not providing T-shirts. The other 3 teams in the finals, Eastern and Western Conference Finals, provide T-shirts for every single game in Eastern and Western Conference Finals, except for one. And those are the most expensive tickets out of all of them. And it just blows my mind that James Dolan will not. He doesn't even have to pay for it, guys. That's the thing. He can find sponsors. The other teams, they found sponsors. Like I think OKC found a casino to go ahead and help them out. It's, whatever you want to do with the shirts or say about the shirts, fine, whatever. It's the gesture. It's the gesture that you're doing at least a little something for the fans that are spending hundreds, sometimes thousands of dollars. A $5 T-shirt goes a long, long way to help support the team and show appreciation for the crowd that's there. Even the Lakers did that. They have done this during the course of the season. So please, come on, James Dolan. You might have one more chance to do this. So go ahead, Game 7, indeed. Please let us know.
Might.
Yeah, he might. But yeah, cheap is his middle name, as I've come to know over the years. But cost, there's no cost, Joe, if you find a sponsor to pony it up. It's just that simple. So there's no cost.
Joe Soro is in the chat because he's scared to come to the show, Gerald. He's scared.
Here we go again. He's scared to come to the show. He was saying he's saying in WhatsApp that he said you were scared. So
I'm here.
I see you here.
And he's hiding at a dance recital. At a dance recital. All right, Joe.
Is the dance recital for one of his daughters? Or is it for him?
I don't even think he's at a dance recital. I think he got that picture off Google. Ooh.
Watch out indeed. But it is, of course, the Lakers Fast Break. It is, of course, legend and Lakers Cornered, of course, the man behind that, John Costa. Guys, we're going to get into our subject for today here in just a sec, but I want to hear your thoughts. It is, of course, the NBA playoffs. OKC already moved on, waiting for, as far as the NBA Finals, for whoever they're going to play against. Game 5 went, as many would expect, a last-ditch effort in MSG by the Knicks as they won 111-94. The Pacers, sorry to say this, Vari, but they were really never in the game after the first half. I'm going to start with you, Legend. Your thoughts on today's game, and I think basically what it comes down to is, do you think the Knicks have a chance to bring it back to MSG for Game 7?
I'm going to say that very first quarter of Game 6 is going to tell the whole story, whether or not they got a chance. I want to say I think they can do it, but this whole series has been a lot of Indiana leading the way most of the time. Today, they played with pride. They played with heart. They played as a team that was not ready to go home in 5. So the very first quarter, to me, Game 6 finna tell the whole story of how this series finna play out. If they got guts, they ain't ready to go home. They come out with the same sense of urgency and put their foot, excuse me, my language, put their foot up Indiana's ass and let's get a Game 7. But they come in there and just laying down and look like they got their bags packed up for Cancun, and it'll be over on Saturday.
John, do you feel the same way? I think, again, probably the most important game of the playoffs outside of Game 7, Denver and OKC will take place in Indiana. coming up here in 2 days. OKC is resting up. The playoffs, the finals have to start a week from today. That's when they start. There is no moving that date. ABC has already got it locked down. Sorry. So it's just going to have to be right now where if you're Indiana, you need to finish the job and take it home. Otherwise, you're starting to look like maybe some things are going to creep in, like for doubt, maybe flashbacks to previous series that they've had where they've had control and lost it. Your thoughts of what's going to go on in Indiana on Saturday?
I do think that Indy's going to close out the series here on Saturday and win in Game 6. And to my credit, it's exactly what I called. I did call Indiana in 6. So, one, I hope it happens because I'd love to be right on that and then have exactly who I thought in the finals from the West and the East. Well, sorry, not the East, but I guess who I thought who I had in the Knicks and Pacers series. But what I and also I'm excited for that because I'd much rather see OKC versus Pacers versus OKC versus Knicks. Like in my opinion, I just think that the Knicks are, they not in my opinion, it's facts. You could look at the facts. Like they run like 7 deep, like 6 deep, really sometimes, and they're like a rolled ankle away from being a team that couldn't even compete with OKC on their worst. So I'd much rather see a better finals matchup with that. So yeah, I do think that Indy will go ahead and put him out just because, I mean, today, the way the Knicks were balling, I mean, man, you had Brunson coming out hot and they started from the beginning. Like, I don't believe that they lost the lead all game. Like they came out with that early avalanche early in the game. Jalen Brunson couldn't miss. And then Karl Anthony Towns couldn't be guarded. And they just kept their foot on their neck. But what I will say is this is like the most intensity I've seen the Knicks play with all series long, to be honest, except Josh Hart. Josh Hart has kept that same energy every single game, to be honest with you. But everyone else, this is the most energy on the defensive end I've seen them give. Is the most energy on the offensive end. This is the best I've seen them just play all around. So, can they replicate that? Right? I don't think it's likely because in NBA, a lot of the times you lose one game and then you're like, oh yeah, all those mistakes, we're not gonna making that shit again. And then you figure that out, and then I think that's what the Pacers are going to do. The Pacers are going to have a big bounce back game here in Game 6. Gerald, you good? You got to handle something?
Yes, good. No, just the wife checking in, just making sure everything's okay.
There you go.
I have my plans all set after the show today. Let's just say that as far as what I need to the honeydew list. A honeydew list, it's already started, which you would know, both you guys, about. Yes, indeed.
I would know. I'm taking advantage of this time while the honey down home. That's the time that I get.
Yes, the honeydew list
right now.
The honeydew list gets kind of large at times, and I'll just say that.
Inexpensive.
YYC says we need Scott Foster to extend and give us a Game 7. Well, if that's the case, YYC, I can pretty much assure you that if Chris Paul will not be there. Now, if he is there in Indiana at the same time Scott Foster is, then you can start talking conspiracies between those two. So I'll just do. What's a honeydew list? Okay, well, obviously you don't have a significant other that sounds like Blue Magic, but I digress. Yes, okay. It is, of course, the Lakers fast break. Brian has a question. I found a backcourt mate. How much? Well, Andre Jackson, is on a rookie contract, so it's very cheap, like under $2 million cheap, or right around $2 million cheap. So those contracts, like we talked about with Kessler, with Joe was saying, and also Dalton's contract, they're sometimes harder to move because of their minimal salaries. I would not start him. I understand he moved into the starting lineup for the Bucks, but I'm not sure someone who averaged 3 points on the season is ready to move into that big step for the Lakers in a playoff push. But if you could get him on the cheap, maybe as part of a Giannis package, perhaps, that would obviously be something very interesting for the Lakers. Because I have seen him and he does look like a potential rotation player that could be part of a something good going forward for the Milwaukee or whatever team he gets traded to. If he does get traded again, like I said, that contract is really hard to move. Those $1 million, $2 million contracts are really hard to move. But it is, of course, the Lakers Fast Break. We are bringing you the playoffs. So the next game is Saturday. We'll have it up for you guys on playback.tv/Lakers Fast Break. So join us there. We are on virtually every day on playback as opposed to what was commented on YouTube. So we are, despite what people are saying, we have not fallen off in any way, shape, or form. But today's show, we're going to go ahead. Brian says we need elite athletes. I think you could just put that statement, take out the Lakers and insert any team in the NBA, maybe outside of OKC. Even Indiana would probably tell you they would need the elite athletes. But yeah, that's something I think maybe Houston, I think maybe would be the only ones I would say would probably are the only ones that have a lot of elite athletes on their team at this point in time. But
I want to say,
what's up, guys? What channel is Clutch Talk?
Yeah.
Go ahead, John.
No, I was just going to say what's up to that Tony guy, because I know he's been saying what's up here in the chat. What's up, Tony? And then Clutch Talk is my other channel. I have Lakers Corner, and then I have Clutch Talk. Yeah, Sports Baby, thank you for dropping that. I honestly really just mainly am on Lakers Corner, but yeah, that's just my other channel I have as well. But what's up, Tony? Nice to have you here, brother.
Nice to have you here. Yeah, absolutely, Tony. So absolutely. And Legend has also got his channel, I Got Next Sports Media. Yes. So go ahead. John has two channels, Lakers Corner, Clutch Talk. Legend has I Got Next Sports Media, and I'm Lakers Fast Break and Pop Culture Cosmos as well. But getting to today's subject, it is going to be a nice conversation. So I hope you guys really enjoy it out there. Plus also you guys here on stage with me. I was hoping Sean and Joe will be with us, but unfortunately, I think it looks like that Joe is busy watching some dancing. So
yeah, no, Joe's hiding. You know where Joe is, Gerald. Joe's hiding.
Okay.
Joe's hiding. He's like, oh shit, John's coming on the show. Oh, I'm not ready for that.
Yeah, we'll get it. Well, they want. Some people have asked for a part 3, a trilogy.
Part 3.
Wow. Like every movie series has to have a trilogy. There is. Trilogy. Yeah, they ought to have that Jordan versus LeBron trilogy debate. So, but before we get into any LeBron news, because there was some slight LeBron news rumors per se spreaded around by Shams Charania, I want to get into today's conversation. Tony Bologna says, "Yeah, I'm coming from Legends channel. Been subscribed to his channel for years. Oh, that's awesome. Good to hear. Absolutely." There you go. Absolutely. Great supporter of Legends channel. So that's awesome to hear. Wanted to go ahead and just talk to everybody a few minutes about who are the big movers and shakers this offseason. So we're going to go ahead and put our thinking caps on. We're going to talk about which teams are going to make maneuvers this season as far as trades, acquisitions, who has to be gotten rid of because of salary cap or other reasons, talent reasons, who needs a talent infusion. We obviously know what the Lakers are going to do as far as the Lakers have or have not on their team. Can the Lakers ultimately end up benefiting from some of this? And we'll interject Lakers throughout this to see if the Lakers, depending on the individual that might be up for a trade, could they be invested into it? So, John, I'm going to start with you first, my friend. Name me a team you are pretty sure. Okay, let's say you're in Vegas and you're right there at the sports book ready to put some money on this. Which team first would you put money you think is going to make a big trade or a series of trades in the offseason?
I want to say the Phoenix Suns, but they really are kind of stuck, to be honest. They really kind of have their hands tied, to be 100 with you.
Good start. I think that's a good choice.
Yeah, like I want to go the Phoenix Suns, but they really have their hands tied. So I want to give Sports Baby some love because Sports Baby took the words out of my mouth. I think Denver has now got to a point where you realize like this is not enough. Like I think when they originally lost Bruce Brown was when, like, in my opinion, all all championship hopes went out the window. Like, I mean, I guess say they had a chance, but Bruce Brown was the ultimate role player for them. That he did a little bit of everything. He was backup point guard to Jamal Murray sometimes, and then I'd also see him play out of the post sometimes. So he was their do everything guy. Losing him sucked, and then losing KCP sucked. Once they lost those guys, it was just I think it was over. And I think now we can officially say, I mean, you let me know if you think I'm wrong, but I think Denver just with their current roster construction, like their championship window is closed. Like I would think they need to shake it up. Granted, when you have a great player like Jokic, I think you always have a chance, or you always have at least a batting chance. But I say that to say, like, Denver, they want to get back on top. I mean, they feel like they got to get back on top. So I think they're gonna try to shake some up, and go ahead and try to do something to try to extend that championship window. So my first answer will be Denver.
Denver, okay. Although you mentioned the Suns as well, so if Suns get brought back up, there's a lot of great conversation on the Suns.
Let's talk about that. Let's talk.
Let's start with Denver.
Yep.
I don't think they're. If you're in Denver, if you're a Denver fan right now, correct me if I'm wrong, Legend. I don't think you would think you're that far off. You've taken OKC to the limit in 7 games. So if I'm in and in doing so, you had Michael Porter Jr. with one arm. You had Aaron. You had with one leg. So Aaron Gordon with one leg, and then who knows if Murray was injured or not. You had Westbrook who had one hand, although that live by Westbrook, you die by Westbrook. But I don't think you're that far. If you're Denver, you're thinking you're not that far off. I think to say their window has closed after a 7-game series against the team that's favored to win the NBA title this year, I think if you're in Denver,
it's a good point.
You may not think you're that far off, Ledge.
That's a good point. And real quick, just before I let you go, the only thing I would say to that is I just feel like it was a difference between like just dominance that we seen, that when they had the Bruce Browns, the KCPs on their team, and versus what I just seen this last year is just it's far off in my opinion. But that is a great point. They did just take the team that I thought was going to win a championship, and I still think is going to win a championship to 7 games. So, I mean, that is a good point. Maybe I should have just gone my original answer as the Suns, but I just know that they're very tied up here with Bradley Beal's situation, and then kind of not having any draft picks. But I want to hear what Legend got to say here.
That's actually I was about to say the same thing as well. I wouldn't say it's fully closed because you just took who I think is going to be the champions to 7 games. You did what we all knew Memphis couldn't do it, but you just did what not Memphis, but Minnesota couldn't do it. That's why I would say they're not fully closed, but they got some moves they need to make, and I would really consider probably moving Michael. That'd probably be the best piece that I would really say look to move because of you paid him a lot of money. I don't think he lived up to that fully, and hearing Jamal Murray name get thrown around a lot too. I would try to hold him if I can, but your role player is the one that to me I think really needs the most improvement. It's that bench. I think that's what they lost the most over the last couple of years. All them key role players were the reason they won 2023. And you notice as over the years they don't lost it went downhill. And that's when you start relying so much on Jokic and Murray, and you can't do that. The NBA is transitioning to the point where it ain't fully about the stars no more. You gotta have good depth with the stars now. Big 3, all that stuff is over with. And I think that's what Denver need to do. You need to get more better role players. Swap out some of the pieces you got. Trade Michael Porter if you can. And see can you get something a little more juice to it. I would talk to Boston. Boston gonna have to let go of some pieces. They can't afford to keep all of them. That's not a bad place to start at least. As well as see what you can do with a couple other teams as well around the league, a couple of other younger teams.
Are you concerned at all about Jamal Murray, whose numbers since the championship winning year has kind of decreased a little bit, John? I see Legend shaking his head. I think he says that he might be a little bit of concern. I still think he's a very good player. I'm not sure if this is a trend or if this is just an anomaly the past 2 seasons compared to what he did in the championship season. We'll have to wait and see. I don't think you should get off of Jamal Murray yet, but Michael Porter Jr. at in the 40s is his contract. I'm going to go check and see what it is. That's going to be a hard contract to move, John. But if you want to get like exactly what Legend was saying, get multiple players. You're going to hear this theme a lot with the Lakers. You're going to hear it with a lot of other teams. With Denver, multiple players to get deeper and more effective in the playoffs. We're seeing it now with Indiana and OKC that more deeper teams are going deeper into the playoffs. So your thoughts, John, on this, adding on to Legend, I thought that he made some very good points. I just don't know if Michael Porter, how attractive is, once he gets right, once he gets a surgery on his shoulder or whatever he needs to do to his shoulder, how attractive is Michael Porter Jr. out there if you're another team?
So one thing I'll say about the comment you just made about winning being deep. I think that if you want to even take that back, that really started, I think, in when Kawhi won the championship on the Raptors, which was 2019, I believe. That was like when it was like the shift in like to win a championship. You can't just have. I mean, it's good to have the best player on the court. You really want to be able to have a deep team. That's what's really going to take you, in the long haul. And really, kind of, if you look at every single team that's won a championship since then, they've been relatively deep, good scoring bench. Instead of just they'll have their 2 stars, but that's not just like all they have, right? But to your point of like Michael Porter Jr. So is this his contract you're pulling up right here, Gerald?
Yes. The next 2 years are 36 and 40.
Okay. Yeah, he is extremely paid. He is paid. And I do think he's also like a very particular type player. Like I don't think he would be successful on every single team around the league because some teams would put him in different roles. Like he's just really good like at catch and shoot, just because he's so damn tall. He catches that ball and shoots it literally at the top of his jump. He's 6'10". But I don't think he's like the type where I would want, in key situations, him putting the ball on the ground and making plays and playmaking. So like, and with his contract being so much, I do think that'll be hard for teams to bite at. But I mean, we'll see how that goes if a team's like willing to kind of adjust their team to play with MPJ. But as far as like Jamal Murray, I think you do not get rid of Jamal Murray. I think Sports Baby said it right here best in the chat, man. Like getting rid of Murray would be dumb just because of like he's still a really good player and he's had his shortcomings, but the same way that Lakers Nation is doing with Austin Reeves, like damn, y'all that quick done forgot like how good this guy is, right? Like that, like I know he's had his shortcomings as of late, but
he's had his shortcomings in the playoffs consistently, and that's what I think a lot of people are concerned about with Reeves, and the fact that he is going to be a free agent most likely in 2026. He's going to refuse his extension here, whatever's offered to him this summer. And he can, I think he has a player option in 2026. He'll refuse that. So in summer of 2026, John, Reeves will be as far as a free agent in the offseason. But I think the playoffs, I don't worry about the regular season. What can you do when it matters the most? And it seems like it's just not a great fit with Luka as far as in the playoffs for matchup purposes, John.
So on that, I agree. So if we're shifting to the Lakers, I agree on that. I was just bringing Austin Reeves just to talk about like how Jamal Murray's had some shortcomings, but as of late, but I still think like people shouldn't forget, what he does and what he has done for that team. So that's on that. Like, so we can leave the Denver Nuggets right there. But if you want to shift to the Lakers, so I agree with you on that. I mean, I 100% agree that Austin Reeves next to Luka, it just is not going to work. It's just not going to work for matchup purposes, for defensive purposes. We're going to have to get, preferably try to get a good defensive guard to put next to Luka, so we could kind of do exactly what the Warriors did for Curry all those years, which is kind of like hide Curry because you have such a good defensive like 2 guard with him, and then preferably we would have Austin Reeves coming off the bench. That'd be dream, but I don't think we get that guard. I don't think we get that defensive menace, that defensive dog, without giving up Austin Reeves, because he's really like the only real bait I think that there is out there. I know people talking about Rui. I know Dalton Connect. I still think it's young, man. But as far as like the Lakers side of things, yeah, 100% agree. Like we are probably, as much as I'm not forgetting what Austin Reeves has done and what he can do, I know that we kind of have to give him up if we want to get something of value. That's what we really need next to Luka.
He's gonna have to go. I think he's gonna be the piece. He just gonna have to let go. It's him or Dalton. One of them got to go. Or both.
No,
or Rui as well, because Rui is in the same situation as Reeves is. Well, actually, it's a little different because he is a unrestricted free agent. He doesn't have a player option in 2026, 27, so he will be an unrestricted free agent. I don't believe, because he can be offered an extension because he only has 1 year left on his contract. So they're going to have to make a decision on him going forward, or try to figure out a way that they can re-sign him using his bird rights, which Joe talked about on the last time that we were here. Brian is still consistent on the Lakers got to get off a few power forwards even before Reeves. He mentioned this on the playback, and we discussed they have a couple expiring contracts, two of which are at the power forward position, so they can't alleviate themselves if they so choose to get something different instead. But they are going to go after. I think the Lakers do have to make a deal, at least one deal, if not two, during the offseason to significantly improve this team. And there's going to be a lot of trades, guys, this summer when it comes right down to it, because only team with cap space is the Brooklyn Nets. And I think a lot of these teams feel that OKC is not a world beater. OKC, especially that Denver series, has shown a lot of faults, and especially on the offensive end, outside of SGA, a little bit inconsistent scoring, a little bit inconsistent shooting from the three. So OKC is not an overwhelming, behemoth that people see or other teams see as someone they can't beat, especially now with the Jason Tatum injury, which we'll talk about Boston here as well. They've got some major decisions this summer. I think the Lakers and a lot of other teams do see an opening if they make the right moves this summer as well. But yeah, Brian, if he stays, then he's going to be obviously Rui Hachimura, be someone that the Lakers might have to move by the trade deadline. Otherwise, they may lose him for nothing. And we already see what happens when you lose somebody for nothing, as Alex Caruso. Yep, Alex Caruso has already led his team, or been a great part of his team, leading them to the finals along with SGA and the Oklahoma City Thunder. But, John, you mentioned Phoenix Suns, and I'm going to bring it back over to Legend. The Phoenix Suns have a lot of issues. This is a team that really has a lot of problems. They have a roster that didn't get them even into the play-in, Legend. Yet they are in the second tax apron. So they are in a world of hurt, and they have to make changes to their roster. Unfortunately, Bradley Beal, it can't be one of them, because he and LeBron, if LeBron opts in, which we can also talk about, if you according to the rumors from Shams Charania, they do not have they have no trade clauses. They do not have the ability to trade either. In the Lakers case, LeBron; in the Phoenix case, Bradley Beal. So those two guys cannot be traded unless they say they want to be traded. So that leaves you with very limited options. And remember, guys, if you're in the second tax apron, you cannot. Not only do you get ultra tax, if you're in a repeat tax situation, you get a repeater tax. You get a first round pick, I think in 2031, 32, something like that. You get that frozen until you get off of the second tax apron, or you could get it ultimately removed as a whole. And when you do trades, You can only trade person for person. So with that said, Legend, I'm going to get it back to you. You have a lot of issues right now. You can do a lot of 1-for-1 trades, but you can't do until you get under the second tax apron. You cannot get I guess you cannot do a multiple player trade until then. So if you're in Phoenix Suns, James Jones got moved to an advisor role, aka I guess he's, that's their idea of the golden parachute after they fire him, but they didn't fire him. They just moved him to an advisor. So you've got a new GM in place. Let's say it's you. Where would you go from there?
If it was me, I think the right thing to do right now is really try to help Kevin Durant find a new home and try to get some pieces back to make up for some of the damage that you already put yourself into. So with Kevin Durant, I would really be trying to make a phone call to Houston or somebody who they need offense right now after getting put out by my Warriors. That would not be a bad place to start if it was me. So I will try to give a phone call to Houston, see what they're willing to do. They got some pieces I know they may not mind giving up.
But they can only do one. If it's just KD, since Phoenix is there in the second tax apron, they can only move one. Now, they could trade for a much cheaper option, which can save them tax. That wouldn't be a problem. It doesn't have to be dollar for dollar if they want to get under the tax, but the other team would have to be in agreement on that, if that makes sense.
I have to start with Kevin Durant because it can't move Bradley. I think it'd be a really bad choice to let go of Devin Booker. He's younger. I'll keep him because he's younger wise. But I think KD is really the best move to do. See what can happen off of that. I mean, wow, they really put themselves in a mess in Phoenix.
In a mess, bro. They put themselves in a mess. Honestly, it's crazy because what they really, I mean, the Legend got it right. I think you got to do right by KD, right? But also, like, I think they just got to restart this whole shit. Like, I was even talking to my friends that live in Arizona, like, even potentially, like, how long is Devin Booker, going to be willing to stay? Because, I mean, he stayed the beginning half of his career. Team was ass. Kevin Durant came. I mean, Chris Paul and them came. They got kind of good. Never really achieved anything meaningful, right? I mean, I don't know if I know they had that, like, parade for, like, the Western Conference finals, but, like, that's not really anything really meaningful. Kevin Durant came. They thought they were going to do something. Never achieved anything meaningful. You tank or you restart. At best, it's going to take what? 3-4 years. Like, is Book really going to be willing to ride that out as well? Like, at the Legend, to your point, like, they really screw themselves over. Like, and it's funny because that Robert guy, is that his name? The guy that bought the team or whatever.
Matt Ishbia. Matt Ishbia.
There we go. I say Robert. Sorry. Yeah, Matt Ishbia.
Big baller.
Big baller came in and said, "Fuck it, I'm gonna come in, do a move right away." Bro, that move ended up biting him in the ass so bad. That's crazy, man. But I mean, here we are though. But I say all that to say, like, they might have just like screwed themselves out of both, Kevin Durant and Devin Booker. Depending on if Devin Booker's okay with this, and I don't think KD is. KD trying to get another one.
Because right now, $150 million, guys, $150 million are going to three players, Durant, Beal, and Booker. I know that it was mentioned in the chat in regards to can we trade for Booker? Mel, if you want to just move back to about the 20-minute mark, I think that's when we discussed Denver. We went over them in pretty good detail. So if you want to take a chance, take a look at that. But when it comes to right down to it, the Lakers could not trade realistically for Devin Booker because the money. I mean, the only thing they could trade would be if LeBron wanted to go to Phoenix. The money works out there. Mm-hmm. I guess you could say Luka, but then you would have to try and work it out if you wanted to trade Luka to Phoenix for Devin Booker.
No.
Well, no. I'm just telling you, money wise. Even then, Luka right now makes about $5-6 million less, so you would still have to work all perimeters because it would put the Lakers in the second tax apron. So there's no realistic way the Lakers could go ahead and trade for Devin Booker. They have to get under the second tax apron. That is paramount right now. If you're the Phoenix Suns, you have to get under the second tax apron. And it just seems like unless they trade KD for 50 cents on the dollar, basically the way to say it, I think that's just pretty much what you're going to have to count on at this point in time.
It might have to happen though, Gerald. Like they might have to do that. They might have to trade KD 50 cents on the dollar.
Yeah, absolutely. And yes, they had Tamani
Kamara. Man, let me tell you something. I was at Summer League watching Tamani Kamara, and I was like, dude, this guy is so good. This guy is so underrated. I was like, man, the Suns got to steal with this guy. There he goes.
There he goes. There he goes. Yep. And all it takes is one bad decision, as we know from the Lakers. All it takes is one bad decision, and you see what happens. I mean, Alex Caruso, of course, so many other players that have been missed out on the Lakers. I know Brian is still, mulling over what the Lakers did to let Julius Randle go. Ivica Zubats, you know how Gerald's I reiterate that.
Gerald's favorite player.
I just think it hurts more because the fact is he is exactly the type of player that we needed on this team.
Crazy, right? Crazy.
17, 13, offensive rebounder, rim protects. He's cheaper.
Right.
And he's the third-ranked defense in the NBA right now. So, I think and was named to the all-defensive team, second team defensive.
Right.
And was third. How does somebody get third in voting, for all defensive player and then manage to get second team all defensive? That blew me away. But all right.
Yeah. Now, honestly, I was going to say, Gerald, like, I think Zubac has honestly been James Harden's like best pick and roll partner he's ever had, and like,
he has to think, he got that extension because of James Harden.
Yeah, so
absolutely
crazy to imagine it. Yeah. What Luka would be able to do with him.
Exactly. So we can go next to another team that's going to make some moves, whether they like it or not, which is the team that you just mentioned, the Los Angeles Clippers. And with that, John, I'll bring it back to you. Your thoughts on the Clippers? They're a team that I think a lot of people, including myself, thought was going to have kind of a down year after Paul George went away, but we did not expect that the Clippers would actually have a more positive year, and Paul George would not in Philadelphia. Now, Philadelphia looks in really bad shape for the short future. And the Clippers, I don't know what they want to commit to. Your thoughts? Should they commit to bringing back Harden? Should they go in a different direction? Should they trade Kawhi? What are your thoughts on what they should do this summer? Because they are probably going to be in the news once or twice this offseason.
I mean, when you have a player like Kawhi, I think it would be a disservice to not at least put yourself in the best position to at least give him a shot, right? Because man, I mean, I know the Clippers got eliminated, but remember that one game? I'm pretty sure it was this playoff series where Kawhi was just cooked. It was just it reminded me of a young Kawhi we used to see.
Now, if you're in the Clippers land, you're saying, hey, they went 7 games with the team that went 7 games with OKC. So how far away are we from being a title contender or a major title team, John?
Good point.
And Legend.
That's a good point.
That's a good point.
I mean, that's a good point. I do think they are going to need more of a bench. Like I think that's one of their first. I may not have a name right off the top of my head, but I do know that if they are going to want to compete with the OKCs, they're going to need a bench. And honestly, like I would say, as crazy as this might sound, like I would say, that's not good. That's not realistic. I was gonna say try to figure out something with James Harden because guys, like, how many times has this guy come up short in the moments that matter most? Like just the biggest
time that we can be rich,
right? Come on, man. So I would say maybe try to get someone with that because he is a free agent, right? If I'm not mistaken. Let me see.
Yes, James Harden has a player option.
Yeah,
currently.
Yeah, so he is.
So he can decline it and become an unrestricted free agent.
Yeah, man. I mean, with a player, like I said, with a player like Kawhi, you got to at least try to give him a shot. But you ask me, I mean, great point you made, Gerald, about talking about how they went 7. But you ask me, this team is not nowhere near.
Harden for KD.
Yeah.
But you see right now, the big
Come on.
number you see is the 175.5, which means they're in a little bit healthier position financially than some of the other teams that we're going to be talking about. They're currently under both tax caps, so that's good for them. YYC is apparently the Clippers want Drew. I don't know YYC, because when you really think about it, let me go ahead and get this off here. Let me ask you, Legend. Let's go and touch on that real quick, because we're going to get into Boston next. I'm going to go ahead and look up Boston's situation here for it, because that's a lot of interesting conversation there. But let's start off with Drew Holiday. Apparently, according to the rumors that are out there, and again, you could take them for what they're worth, Drew Holiday, man, they have right now a guy in Chris Dunn, who great defender, gets steals, can't shoot consistently from the outside. They left him alone consistently. Drew Holiday, good defender, now in his mid-30s, can still get you steals, probably can still defend at a decent level, but also inconsistent from the outside. He's been throughout his entire career inconsistent from the outside. But he is a very pricey individual. Mid-30s, I think, for mid-30 million. I'll go ahead and look up his contract. But your thoughts, if you're the Clippers, would you – I know that's somewhere where they would like to go, but is that really the direction you think they should be headed in?
Almost like about trading for the same player almost. Kind of what it feels like.
That's why I was bringing it up, because, Dunn is a much cheaper version of Drew Holiday.
Definitely.
Drew Holiday is a little bit better, but a little bit better score. You know what? You could say they're not exactly the same player, but I think Drew Holiday at this stage of his career at 35, coming up next season, I don't know what you're going to get. Legend.
Hey, Gerald, I don't know about that.
I understand what they're trying, but I'm with John. I would really look at that. Can I move Harden for something? Just get me a more reliable second person to back up
I think
Kawhi.
Norman Powell's the one that they might have to trade. That's the one that they might have to look at trading. Legend. Yeah, YYC.
That's not bad.
Yeah,
he should have been an all-star this year, so that's not bad.
Yeah. And I don't want to say or insinuate that they're the same player or same level of player, but let's just say, like John, that Dunn is a poor man's version of Drew at this stage of his career.
Yeah, but like a very poor man's version of Drew. Like Drew.
But then again, do you want to pay for the rich man's version of Drew Holiday at 35 years and $32 million?
That's a great point. That's 100% a great point, Gerald.
Yeah.
But man, we got to realize, like, I know you realize that, Gerald, but I'm talking about like the world. I think the world, like, wildly just continually, even though everyone talks about it, continues to underestimate Drew Holiday. I mean, he literally was the reason Milwaukee got over the hump and won a championship. He literally was the reason, part of the reason, it was him and Kristaps. Was part of the reason Boston got over the hump and won a championship. So
big reason.
Yeah, right. I mean, so that, it's a very, very poor man's version, but great point though, Gerald. He is 35 years old and getting paid a lot, to be honest. Eric, Boston has to reset for a couple. What do you mean? I thought he said
he's getting into what has been talked about, and I think Eric's got a great point, because let's get to Boston. Yeah. Of any team that we're going to be talking about, they have the most money right now tied up. Yeah. They're not into the second tax apron. They are into the second tax apron. Basically, if they kept it as is, guys, for next season, if they kept everything the same, they would probably, with repeater tax involved, probably be spending over that projected salary cap would be $400 million, to give you an idea. If they keep it all the same, if they didn't move a person and they re-signed their players, it would go probably in taxes alone to over $400 million. So you have a new owner that's coming in. You still have the same people like running the team, but you have a new owner. I don't understand. If I'm buying a team, I'm buying the team. I'm buying and I'm owning the team and I'm running the team. I'm not allowing the previous owners to have any say or control or whatnot. I don't know why or who signed that deal, but man, it seems like a sucker's born every minute on that one. But be that, hey, it's not my money, but be that as it may, I think they are going to be a mover this offseason because Eric is pointing this out and it very astutely. I want to compliment him on this, that with Jason Tatum out for over a year until he gets back to, I think, at a level where he can get you somewhere. Because, we saw how long it took KD with the Achilles. Your thoughts on this, guys? They're going to have to make some moves. And obviously Drew Holiday is the one that they would like to move. Kristaps Porzingis, who only has a year left on his contract, but who's also right around $30 million they would like to move. But he has a lot of questions with his health. As we saw in the playoffs, he had that undiagnosed, mysterious illness that nobody could figure out what was going on. Drew is in his mid-30s. Again, it's I'm going to start with you, Legend. Your thoughts, where do you go if you're Boston? I mean, I understand if you might have to punt a year because Jason Tatum is gone, but where really do you go from here? Do you think you should just blow it up and rebuild it so when Jason Tatum is ready to come back, you have a different team around him?
I would try to move a couple of pieces, go and let some pieces go. I think next year is a lot of Boston fan may not want to say it, but yeah, I'll probably get ready to punt next year. You're not going to win next year, so I'll use it all next year to reconstruct some stuff on this roster and have it ready for when Jason Tatum get back. Him and Jaylen Brown can try to run it back and try to win something. So I would probably look to move off of probably Kristaps, since I don't know what's going on with his health. I'm thinking Al Horford probably getting ready to retire, so you got to probably replace him. See what you can get for Drew. I would try to hold on to Derek White much as you can. And then see what you move off of anyone else that might can draw some attention. But I would look to just rearrange his roster a little bit since you got nothing to lose for next year. You ain't going to win nothing next year, so might as well use that whole year to make moves happen.
100% agree. And just want to say what's up to Xbox here in the chat. My brother, good Xbox. And Joe. Yes, I mean, of course, the Suns choked, but I'm talking about personnel-wise and as far as what they needed and having that guard there next to play next to Giannis and really the best defensive guard in the league. So that's what I meant by helping them get over the hump. Now, as far as the Boston Celtics, I don't know who said it here in the chat, but 100% agree. It's probably going to have to be KP and Drew, because to your point earlier, Gerald, Drew Holiday is getting on the downhill side of his.
Who do you trade them to? Who do you trade them to that's willing to go ahead and say, yeah, I'll take on this mid-30s player that's earning $30+ million a year, or I'll take this Porzingis guy with a year left on his contract that has proven to be very unreliable health-wise? I mean, if you're trying to sell me something, it's not selling me yet.
100%. For Kristaps, I think he'd be a lot easier to get off, to be honest with you. I understand he has these kind of like little weird injuries. One of my friends asked me, he's like, does Kristaps have AIDS? I was like, no, not to my
We don't know. We don't know.
I don't know what he got going on, man.
If he can't figure it out, if they can't figure out what, and he's already done tests with doctors and obviously after the season, he's probably done more extensive tests and it's not come out. We don't know what it is. But John, I mean, the thing that I'm saying here is, I know Porzingis might be a little bit more attractive because he has, 1 year left. So if you're a team like Brooklyn that you want to just go ahead and, punt over to next season, you just take like a Porzingis to fill up your salary cap, and then you're back in the fray as far as next summer when better free agents are out there. If you're the Lakers, though, I would actually give them a call. Jaylen Brown, he might be tradable to a team. I don't think the Lakers have enough for him, or at least what the Boston wants to give up for him. But Jalen may be someone that might be looked at as far as a possible trade possibility. But what about Derek White? We mentioned him in the playback. Legend, your thoughts on Derek White possibly being moved in the offseason? His contract is a little bit more palpable.
Definitely would not be a bad piece to move. I mean, if it was me, I would try to hold on to him, but he has a lot of value. A lot of teams would love to have him. I mean, I would love to have him in Golden State right now because we need some offense. But
he's at 20 mil, right? Or a little bit around 20 mil.
He'd be a good piece to move. I mean, I could think of a lot of teams that would love to have him.
A lot of teams. I think every team in the league could use a player like him, to be honest with you. Like defensive.
Denver would love to have him.
Right? Come on, right? A defensive guard, do it all. I play my role, catch a shoot. Need me to catch a shoot. Could put the ball on the ground. Could play make. I mean, I'm falling in love as I'm talking.
What if the Lakers came calling to their old friends and compadres, and I say that with very tongue-in-cheek, the Boston Celtics?
Man, do we? I'm gonna be honest with you.
Would you do an Austin trade?
No, I personally wouldn't. So here's why. Here's why, right? I think Derek White is great. I think Derek White is an amazing role player and one of the players that you need once you're like there, but you need to get like over the hump. But we need a pairing to put next to Luka. Like it's gonna be Luka and LeBron, but we've seen if you have watched Luka Doncic throughout the season, you know he's gonna need that pick and roll lob threat big because how much that unlocks his game and everybody else's game around him. So I say that to say like it would take Austin Reeves. It would take maybe those, that first round pick that we have. It would take a lot of our assets to go get a Derek White, which would be great, but it would not be the player that we really need. And the player that we really need is that pick and roll big. So I wouldn't. I don't know about what about you, Legend?
Yeah, I'm thinking about the same as John. I wouldn't do it. Just short and sweet. I wouldn't do it.
Yeah.
I would.
Gerald? You would do.
I would.
Wow. Really, G?
Oh, wow. Okay.
I would.
Okay.
White brings more to the table. He's not that much older than Austin Reeves. Scoring ability, he doesn't have the offensive versatility that say Austin does, but defensively in a playoff series, Jalen Brunson aside, he is going to play well against defensively against whoever the opponent is. And the Lakers right now don't have that. DFS, probably the nicest guy in the world, and Luka loves him, but unfortunately he just isn't at that level, especially now that he's getting into his mid-30s. And I just think Derek White, who is 30, still has something left in the tank. He is consistent from beyond the arc. He's improved his game there, something he didn't do in San Antonio. I would consider it. I would strongly consider it if you can find a way to work out the money, because White does make more than Reeves. I would do it. Xbox says White for AR is a dumb trade by Boston. But let's do it.
Xbox is so funny, but then Gerald. So then let me ask you. But you're putting yourself in that predicament to where like now, like all right, you have Derek White, got rid of Austin Reeves, like we still don't have that big that we so desperately needed, and Austin Reeves is our biggest bait.
Well, you also have Rui Hashimura, who you could also utilize, and you've got a first round pick, and you've got up to 5 swaps.
How much you think that's going to get us? You think that's going to get us the big that we really need?
It can get you an effective big. I think it can
go
ahead and get you an effective big. Plus, in the draft, as I mentioned, I'm not saying for a starter, but at 55, there is the possibility there could be up to 6 7-footers, big guys that are out there in that draft in the second round, as far as developing big guys who all have size and all have the ability to go ahead and run the pick and roll. So if you want to take a chance as someone that you can develop, you can go ahead and do that. As far as the starter is concerned, again, you have Rui Hashimura, You still have 2 expirings in Gabe Vincent and Maxi Kleber, and then you have the first and some swaps, and you could go ahead. And if you want to put Connect in there, I know Joe doesn't like that, but you might have to do it for the right big. So yeah, it's again that there are many issues on the Lakers. Depth, a wing that can start and go 2 ways, more 2-way players, a center that can rebound to cure the. There are a lot of issues, John and Legend, that the Lakers have that they need to address. It is not funny because it's a serious thing. When you look at it, they're a bad rebounding team. They're a poor defensive team on the perimeter. They need help inside. These are things that they need. And yet they were still able to win 50 games. It's attributed to who was there on the team just to do that. But in order to advance in the playoffs, they need to shore these things up, plus get depth along with it. So they are going to have to make some tough moves, tough trades, and that probably would start with Austin and Rui right there. So
yeah. I mean, hell yeah. Hey, I would love it if we can get, to your point, Gerald, get that guard that can, be paired next to Luka to play some defense, and then also still get a good big to pair up with Luka. Hell yeah, I'm with it too. But I'm just saying, like, I don't know. I don't know if that happens, but to the words of Kodak Black, I hope so.
Yes, I hope so indeed. Again, if Amari Williams is there, if at the second round, he's a 7-footer, 260 pounds. He has proven to be a consistent rebounder. I see that he has actually moved up on mock drafts, the same mock drafts I looked at yesterday. So they're changing. So is Vladislav Golden, who's a 7-footer, 250 pounder, also a good rebounder. Niederhauser after Penn State. These are all 7-footers that are in that range. Also, Yang. I know that Xbox doesn't like Zakarsky, but Zakarsky's 7'3". He's in that second round floating somewhere. So, yeah. Dameless says, gents, what's more likely, an impact big or center by committee? I would say it's the latter, not the former.
Wait, what did he say? What's more?
An impact big, someone, that's going to really make a name for themselves or really, get you a double-double right away, right off the get-go, or will it be another center by committee type deal? And the odds will say the latter instead of the former, although I hope it's the former instead of the latter. So
we need the former instead of the latter, but
you need that former more than anything.
Yeah, more than anything for real, right? But I think it will probably be by committee, kind of like I was this year.
And YYC, I know I mentioned you guys have mentioned Claxton. I know he's a favorite of Stone's. That free throw percentage kind of hurts me, just like when I was really high on Mitchell Robinson in New York, because if you play him 20, 25 minutes a game, he really can affect things on defensive rebounding, defensive rim protection, defensive rebounding, and offensive rebounding. But as we've seen in the playoffs, his free throws are atrocious. So, what can you do? He's going to take you right out of a game that he worked so hard to put you in on occasion, which is going to frustrate a lot of people because he's going to be clanking a lot of free throws, either him or Claxton, which is kind of a shame because both those players really, if they could get to 65%, if they could get to 66%, 2 of every 3 free throws, that would get them off the Haka whatever that they're part of right now.
Gerald, I'll be honest, like I would take a chance on one of those guys, to be honest with you, and I would like have them know that, like, yo, part of you coming here, you're gonna work on your free throws, like, because I've played basketball, Gerald. Like you play basketball, Legends play basketball, we've all played basketball, right? Basketball, especially shooting, is simply a repetition thing. Like, how many reps do you get up? Like, I guarantee to you, there is no trick there. Like, yeah, sure, you want to have a good form, want to make sure your elbows tucked in, you want to shoot, you want to flick your wrist, you want to follow through, you want to hold the follow through. Yeah, sure, all that, right? But at the end of the day, if you want to become a good shooter, it simply takes repetition. And I would get one of those bigs, get them, go ahead, pick and rolls, pick and not, all that you do, but you are going to be in the gym after every game and before every game and after practices and before practices, getting up extra work with free throw. We got a like personnel coach. I'll make one coach like your specific free throw coach. You gotta you gotta get it, man, because like this just cannot be a norm. Like this is one thing I've always had such a problem with. Like we cannot just accept someone not hitting a free throw like consistently. A free throw, we cannot just say, "Oh, damn." Well, that's what we just got to live with it, right? Like you cannot do that. Like defense is a whole different conversation, because defense is like, yeah, it takes some repetition and whatnot, but some people just simply cannot laterally move as quick as other people, and that's what defense is about. How quick can you move laterally, right? And I think that free throws is not that. I don't give a how slow you are. Get up, reps, and make your damn free throws at least to, like your point, Gerald, 65, 70%. At least.
It's just muscle memory.
So I'll ask you. I'll answer your question. I'll answer
Mel Gibson.
I'll answer your question like this, John, and I'll ask it with Legend answering it for me. Legend, outside of Andre Drummond, who was notoriously a terrible free throw. I mean, historically bad. He was in the 30% range for the early part of his career. He worked at it and developed, and now he's at a blistering 60% free throw shooter at this stage of his career. So he pretty much is who he is at this point forward. So he's at 60%. That's the best he's going to give you at this point forward. How many, let's say Nick Claxton or Mitchell Robinson, they're both like several years in the league now. How much realistically do you think they can actually improve at that area of their game?
If they can at least get to about 65 or 70, that's good. That's not bad. Still not pretty. That's not bad. It can be fixed. It just, you got to put the time into it. Like the whole summer, you probably need to be shooting free throws. That's the only way you're gonna build that muscle memory to know exactly how to flow off, depending on how you shoot the jumper. I think they can improve it, and I think especially they're toward the end of their contract, and you want to get paid, you'll put the work in if you want to get paid.
There you go.
If you were to go to LA and make a big difference, you're gonna have that money at the end of that season. They'll do it.
Tough. I think Zubats is in the 75, 78% range. But I mean, for that center, that's great. AD is actually one of the best or better free throw shooters from the big man position that I know of.
But,
so,
Gerald, let me hop in here real quick, because I want to talk about the example I always bring. This is when I talk about Ben Simmons, and then when I talk about Giannis, right? And then I mean, we can just talk about any big that, to your point, hasn't been a historically a good free throw shooter in their career. Remember when Giannis, like, I mean, he's still not the greatest free throw shooter, but remember when he was like absolutely piss poor and like people counted, everybody was like 1, 2, 3, and it was just a joke to laugh about Giannis and his free throw shooting ability. Do you guys remember the year that they won a championship? I believe it was a game 7. He made like 21 free throws that game. And if you go and look on Basketball Reference, again, his percentages, they're up and down.
Right around 70%.
Right?
He's 70 for his career.
And he's 70 for his career. So they go up and down, but he's 70s for his career. That Giannis doing that is the epitome and is the example of, look, you can get in the gym and put in the work and put in the repetition and become, you don't have to become Stephen Curry at the free throw line, but you at least have to be good enough to where you're not, they can't do hack a Shaq or hack a Mitch Robb or hack a Claxton or whatnot. You just have to put in that work. And like how Legend said, like maybe add like an incentive base, like something in their contract where it's like something about free throw percentages or amount of free throws that you hit. Because if these guys want to get paid, they're going to do it. And to Mel Gibson's thing saying about basketball, like, bro, like basketball is about repetition and just getting up work. I mean, Mel Gibson says he plays basketball. Looks like, I don't know if this is the real Mel Gibson or not. I'd love it if it's the real Mel Gibson, and want a signature, man. But but anyway, I say all that to say, man, come on, we cannot accept bigs just not being able to shoot. Like this is
At
not.
least be decent.
You got to at least be decent enough to where now
You're not a liability.
Yeah, you're not a liability, right? And I think this is for all areas of the game. Like I even said this. I've been saying this take for the last two years. I'm not gonna lie. If you are the league is getting to a point where you cannot be a liability at almost anything on the court. I mean, Luka Doncic, as great as he is, look at like the reason why Dallas absolutely sucked. I mean, Kyrie didn't show up or whatnot. But if you watch the finals, Dallas, I mean, Luka was getting targeted almost every single time down court because he's a defensive liability. And teams that win, like the Celtics, and teams that win, like OKC, which winning this year, they have nobody on the court as liability. They can switch to 1 through 5, and they may not be the most lockdown defender, but they are not put on an island. So yeah, say all that to say that. Joe Soro joined, man. What's going on with this guy?
Joe, are you with us? Are you with us, Joe?
What's Costa yapping about?
Joe, don't make me slap you, Joe.
Man, I'll be in LA tomorrow. You can come try to slap
Come on,
me.
you come to the. You know where I live, Joe. I'm in the Bay Area. Come on.
I ain't going to the Bay Area.
Well, I'm not coming to LA.
I'm waiting for the Bay Area to sink.
Well, you said what? You said you came to the Bay Area to sing?
I said I'm waiting for the Bay Area to sink.
Oh, to sing? Oh, dude, you guys are the one that had that fire. I thought your house was gonna catch on fire.
People
Joe.
who are running things are from that area.
No, okay. Well, I tell you what, I'm running me, and I run myself, and I do a great job at it.
Look,
So,
if I knew Mel Gibson was going to show up, I would have been here earlier.
yeah, right. If I knew Mel Gibson would have showed up, I would have been whole different outfit, whole different attire. Man, we gotta get some warnings going on here. Joe, stop leaving. I know you're scared to talk.
I'm mobile, so I'm probably getting in and out of service.
No, you're just scared.
Thables asked if we can get Ben Simmons for a minimum.
No,
he is
please,
not under
no.
contract.
God, no.
Thameless, he is going to be an unrestricted free agent because Brooklyn kept on to his contract. They sent him packing, and the Clippers picked him up on a buyout. But yeah, I believe he is going to be a UFA this offseason, and that's why Brooklyn has 40 million or 30 to 40 million cap space. They're the only team in the NBA that has any real cap space this summer, is because of Ben Simmons. But Joe Soros here, the Joe Soros channel on YouTube. Glad to have you here, my friend, on the mobiles, proving John wrong.
No, I'm proving him. I never said he wouldn't show up. I just said he was scared. He's the one that said I would.
I'm sorry.
So I'm
what
here.
Am I going to be
Joe.
scared of?
I'm here, Joe. I'm here.
I'm the one. I'm the one who scares people. You don't scare me.
No. You're scaring me.
I'll just say, I actually said high 70s, but I knew he was in the 70s somewhere top. But yeah, I'll just say this, Joe. Is there any teams? I know you've been focused a lot on DeAndre Ayton, and also as well, of course, going to Utah, talking about Kessler. I think I'm more in love with the Kessler. If situation, if we could get that, then Ayton. I think Ayton, as far as his contract, even though he would be a free agent in the following season, that price what the Lakers would have to pay is kind of steep. I didn't say it's impossible, just kind of steep. Is there another team out there that you're going to be thinking about that's making or that could make a lot of moves this offseason? An offseason which I think will have a lot of trades and transactions based on the fact, as I just mentioned, there's only one team with real cap space this summer, Joe.
I'd say there's a team that we discussed earlier in the latter part of the year, which was Orlando. I think Orlando Orlando needs an infusion of something. Offense, an identity a little bit. Paolo is a very good player, and he still has a lot of room to go from a very good player to maybe a Halliburton type player, right? And a thrusted number one after a certain amount of years. But Orlando needs kind of a second player that they can maybe rely on day in and day out. Now or game in and game out. I know Franz is kind of supposed to be that guy. They're definitely going to be paying him that money. I don't know yet if he can be that guy. Maybe they need kind of like a 2. Maybe he's more of a 2A, and maybe they need a 2B. Do the Lakers have a couple guys that they can throw over there, Rui or Austin? But it looks like the Lakers are going to keep Austin. They haven't said anything about Rui. So Rui, I think, would be the obvious choice to probably see who would want him. And can the Lakers get 2 players for Rui if they include some capital? What would that be? I would say you want to definitely get a center that can play some defense and maybe a guard that can score. I would say, would they want to throw in a Cole Anthony? Cole Anthony and Jonathan Isaac for a package of Rui, a first-round pick, and however that would work out. If they needed a third team to make it work even more, because they're committing. They're going to commit to Paolo at some point here. His contract's about to get its extension here. They're already going to be paying Jalen Suggs $35 million, and they're going to be paying Franz $38 million. So it looks like they're building the blocks. Contavious Caldwell-Pope, I think, I know his veteran leadership would be something that would help, but I think he makes too much money, and he's too long in the tooth now for what he was. So would that be a deal that the Lakers could make? Would it make sense? It still depends on, can JJ Redick make it all kind of work? Can he make a Cole Anthony and a Jonathan Isaacs work with Luka, LeBron, and Reeves? Does that particular lineup make sense? I'm just thinking in terms of realistic and money making sense options. Because remember, Jonathan Isaac's going to be getting paid less money than he did this year. This year he made 27.
He has a declining contract. Yeah.
This year he made 27, and I think 27.6, and his contract goes down to 15. So they don't really necessarily need to worry about matching contracts. Matter of fact, that Orlando's gonna need to send more money our way to make it work with draft picks and then whatever fillers that you want to put in there.
If I could hop in here, I would say getting Jonathan Isaac would be great because, like, for the reasons you guys mentioned, as far as like him being on the declining, we wouldn't necessarily even have to be like breaking the pockets for that. But then, I've seen some people in the chat talk about Suggs. Suggs would be a great defender.
He's got an ACL.
I know.
He's got an ACL.
I'm saying, like, he'd be a great defender, but he's got an ACL, right? So you're gonna have to wait that out. Not trying to wait that out. Cole Anthony, to Joe's point, he's a scorer, but defensive liability. So I'm not necessarily trying to take on another defensive liability with Luka out there. But you know who they do have on that team, because they are just loaded with guards, is Anthony Black, man. Anthony Black, somebody who, honestly, when he first came to the NBA, I kind of doubted him, and then I just watched him develop, and he can play make. He can lead it. I'm not saying he can lead a team, but he can like play make as far as like comes off the bench, and he is that like lead playmaking guard for the Magic. And he is 6'6", 6'7", so he can kind of be, he's kind of, played at 1, played at 2, and he's a pretty good defender. So honestly, I would go for that package of, getting Jonathan Isaac so we can get that rim protection, so we can get that lob threat of a big, and he can honestly even shoot too, so you can stretch the floor a little bit. But in my opinion, the steal is, getting Anthony Black, because, don't want to wait out Suggs' injury. To Joe's point, KCP is on the latter end, and I think Anthony Black, in my opinion, fits the timeline, fits our needs. It's just about, going and making it happen. And if JJ is going to be able to coach that, put that together, which I give him the credit. I think he could.
I don't think Orlando's going to make that deal. I think they want to keep Anthony Black, especially with his salary currently. They still have him on he's got a team option even in I think 2027.
You improve with Austin Reeves, though. You get that scoring. They needed that scoring bunch. They needed that help scoring, and you getting Austin Reeves, you drastically improve from Anthony Black there.
Probably, but the reason why I don't think the Lakers are going to move Reeves unless it's for a Giannis. They're not going to move him for a Black. They're not going to move him for an Anthony. They're not going to move him for an Isaac. They're not going to move him for anybody that isn't a legitimate 3 or
Gerald
2.
Gerald just went for a Derek White and an AR a couple minutes ago.
The only reason why Derek White makes sense, but then again, that's a lateral move for the Celtics because they're still going to have, because he's going to want $30 million and somebody might be paying him that, although I don't believe it. I think somebody's going to pay. My view is on Austin is somebody's going to pay him between 20 and 25 mil, and the Celtics can't afford that. The Celtics have to move contracts without taking long-term contracts. So the Drew Holiday, the Porzingis, I don't know who the hell is going to take Porzingis out of anybody's hands at this point. He's just not healthy enough. There might be a championship team or a contender like the Clippers that I just heard that Drew Holiday is somebody that they're looking at. They may want to take that risk and say, hey, maybe we get that guy and maybe he can do what he did for Boston last year for them. But Boston's is trying to shed salary, and they're going to do everything they can to try and get all the money that they don't want to pay, and half a bill. They're going to be paying as of right now. If they don't do anything, which they will, but I'm just saying if they didn't do anything, they're paying a half a bill for this team. That is crazy,
insane.
So they have to shed $100 million at the very least on what they have right now, and I mean, looking at it from an objective standpoint, I think Brad Stevens is capable of doing that. He's a very good GM. But they're not going to be looking to improve. They're going to try to improve by moving those contracts, but it's going to be very, very difficult.
I agree. They're looking out for the future, but on that Anthony Black one, I mean, as far as again,
if you can get Anthony Black
and fit wise,
if you can get Anthony Black and Jonathan Isaac,
yes,
that is. But you're gonna have to give up Austin Reeves.
I agree with that. And I'm saying earlier we were talking with Gerald and I was saying, I only give up Austin Reeves for that big name pairing that we could put next to Luka. I don't know if you can still hear me or not, but
yeah, he's right there.
Okay. I was talking to Gerald earlier and I was saying, I only give up Austin Reeves for that big pairing that we could put next to Luka. But in a situation like that though, I guess you are right. You are right in not trying to give up AR, but man, you getting Anthony Black, that's a young guy. That's exactly what you need, fits the timeline. And you get Jonathan Isaac, who is that exact big that we need. So, I mean, if push comes to shove, I think it might be a move, but I agree with you though. I'm definitely on more of the side of the fence of using Austin Reeves because he's our biggest bait to go get a big name to pair next to Luka. So
what would need to be figured out as well is Anthony Black going to jump to the next level? Should you acquire him and him playing with Luka, right?
With more opportunity.
This is a guy that could be. I mean, we're talking about a guy that's 21 years old.
Crazy.
He's 6'7" and can play defense. The Lakers have to really assess what that means. Do they see this guy's potential in the next 2 years to 3 years? Because this is exactly the player you need next to Luka. If he's not going to be a dominant offensive force, how about a dominant defensive force? Someone who's got size, which he has. He's got the athleticism, and he's young as hell. That's just a recipe for develop this guy into a all-defensive player and make up for that major miss that you had by letting Alex Caruso go. That could be your Alex Caruso.
Absolutely.
And then Jonathan Isaacs, I know his injury issue, he's had injury issues, but who hasn't, right? If he doesn't
I would rather target Carter Jr. if you're going to go for Black and see what that gets you instead. Because Isaac, like you said, it's such a big risk, Joe. His knees are such a big risk.
That's a big risk taking him.
That is.
It's a risk, but he's not going to kill you in terms of money. He's going to be 15 mil per. If it doesn't work out, you're not debilitated. At least he's not making $35-40 million.
And he fits the build of exactly what we need as far as that rim protection, that lob
and his attitude. There's an attitude that
Stretch
Jonathan Isaac's had that I like.
He loves the Lord. That's why.
Well, I don't know his. I'm that's great. I didn't know that. I didn't know he was disciple. I didn't know he's religious, but I know who he is, and I've seen him in interviews. I never saw that. Maybe I missed it, but he's got a team unity concept in his head. He stands on his convictions. He stands on his. You can see it in his interviews. You can see that he believes in what he believes in, and he stands by it and doesn't get kind of swayed by anything. Those are the type of players you want on title teams, because people are going to look up to him. They're going to look up to him, and they're going to go to him as leaders, because this team, Luka may develop that, and I believe he will once he's settled. He's still not settled, right? He's just got here. And guys like Jonathan Isaac, whomever ends up coming on this team in the next year or two, you want those guys that you kind of admire, and locker room guys that are going to be able to make everybody on the team feel like, okay, I can go to Jonathan if there's something going on. Luka, I think, is one of those guys that I'm not saying he's not a leader, but he more leads by example. And he's just a nice guy. But I think Jonathan's conviction and the sure.
Yeah, we lost Joe right there. I haven't got him back, so he had the zone right there. But so while we wait on him, I did want to give a legend real quick on this. Two more teams I'd like to discuss before we leave for the day. Legend, your team, or one of your teams, the Golden State Warriors, they're looking to probably do a lot of the same things that I'd getting Joe back. Go ahead, Joe, finish up, and then I got Golden State for legend.
Where did I get cut off? I don't know why the hell my service over here is pretty shitty.
So I think you were still talking about the Orlando Magic as far as what trying to keep with Paulo and Franz together and all that.
Wow, did I really talk all that time and you guys didn't hear shit?
It was about 90 seconds. It's about 90 seconds before we got.
Let me get into a better area. I'll be back.
No, you're.
Okay. All right. So with that, legend. Let's get to your team, the Golden State Warriors. They're having a lot of issues around the same type as the Lakers are in more depth and more size. Two-way players. Yeah. So, your thoughts on where the Golden State Warriors go next? Will they go big name hunting? Because Butler. I don't know if you want to say that was a success. It was initially when they went on that big run, but in the playoffs, especially when Steph Curry got hurt,
he went to bed.
Yeah, go ahead.
We need a bed. We need a bed.
Okay,
we need a bed.
So what do you do?
I've been asking for a bed. We got a bunch of nice little role pieces on this bench. Everybody outside of Steph. Draymond, Jimmy, you on the block. You gotta do something at this point. I've been asking for a bid for 2 years. We need it.
Well, Jonathan Kuminga, as has been stated, thank you, YYC, for bringing it up. Here's a possibility he could leave in free agency because of what's coming up for him. And, his role has been all over the place in Golden State. If I was him, I would want to seek out my fortunes, because if Brooklyn comes by, because they're the only team with cap space, and offers me 20-25 million a year, I'm taking it. I know he's an unrestricted free agent, but I think 20 to 25 million could be enough to pry away from Kuminga from Golden State. I think he wants a more solid role. If you're Kuminga, I wouldn't say I blame him, so that he can develop. If he doesn't, he doesn't. But at least he needs to go to a place where he's going to get the minutes and not be always looking over his shoulder.
Yes.
For a coach that's going to bench him. I'm not criticizing Kerr. I'm just saying that if you're him, if you're Kuminga, you're always looking over your shoulder. Any mistake you make on that floor, you're right. You think yourself, you're right back on the bench. And that's, how effective can you be if you're always thinking in that mindset, Legend?
Legend, question for you real quick. Because
What's up?
You being a Warriors fan, like, are you from the Bay or you live here or no? He just a Warriors fan?
No, I'm from Georgia.
Okay.
Yeah, he's in Atlanta. So Atlanta and Golden State are his teams.
Okay, no, sounds good. I was just wondering because I was like, if you're from the Bay, let's link up, bro. I'm out here. But anyway, I was gonna say, so you said you want a big, which I agree. You guys desperately do need a big. And YYC made a good point here in the chat. He said maybe Porzingis can fit with Golden State for a Kuminga package. What would you think of that?
First thing I want to know is what is his health status? Like what's going on with him? That's the first thing I want to know before I even take that liability, because that I don't know what's going on with your sickness and I don't know what you got, man. And that's to me where I'm like, I don't want to be basically paying you to be sick. Basically, I'm not. I want to see the history, your health, everything before I make that decision.
So the last team I wanted to bring up, guys, that's something that could affect your teams, Atlanta or Golden State, or also the Lakers, is the Chicago mediocre Bulls. Who knows what direction? Yeah, who knows what direction they could go in, guys, but there's a very desirable player by the entire NBA that's on that team. And I'm sorry, Xbox, it's not Giddey, because Giddey's about ready to, if he re-signs with Chicago, he's going to re-sign to a fat contract for him. I'm talking about Kobe White. That's a good question, Xbox. We should mention that too. Kobe White, your thoughts on Kobe White? He's relatively cheap right now, $12 million on this year's contract. Let me go ahead and see if he's signed an extension. I'll bring it back to you, John, real quick. Your thoughts on Kobe White? Could he be somebody that the Lakers might be interested in?
I mean, he would be a scoring guard, but why bring a player that's going to take the ball out of Luka Doncic's hands? I mean, like in my opinion, if we bring him on, like it'd be a come off the bench type role, because to me and Legend's point, I mean, I think you also agree, Gerald, we've been saying like we want a defender to put next to Luka, so we don't bringing Kobe White would be dope. I mean, it extends our range. Like he's a great point guard, but we'd be overpaying for him because, in my opinion, we'd be using him in more of a bench role instead of him, starting. Because if he starts, if he wants to be the Kobe White we just seen, he needs the ball in his hand. And if he needs the ball in his hand, that means Luka needs to be more off ball. And I don't think it's worth taking the ball out of Luka's hand to put it in Kobe's hand. So I think he's very desirable around the league, but to the Lakers, like for the right price tag, sure, but for what he's gonna go for and what he's gonna try to get, I'm cool with it, to be honest with you.
Because he's an unrestricted free agent in 2026. So I'm not losing it, Xbox. It is who is most valuable to another team right now. Because Giddey is going to ask for a lot of money right now. And most likely Chicago is the only one outside of Brooklyn that's going to pay, because in order to re-sign him, what are you going to do? So I think if you're Chicago, you're almost, because you already gave up Caruso. Do not tell me you gave up Caruso for nothing and you let Giddey walk, coming off of a season where Giddey improved his three-point shooting. Still is terrible defensively, but he is a facilitator, one of the top facilitators in the league. So what are you going to do there? So as far as Giddey is concerned, you're almost stuck in getting, if you're Chicago, you're almost stuck in having to go ahead and re-sign him on a long-term contract for, I think he might get as much as $30 million.
Wow.
Get 25, 30. He might get 25, 30. I think. I'm not saying he's deserves it. I mean, Xbox will tell you he deserves it, because
shout out to Down Under, man.
Yeah, Xbox loves Giddey. So you cannot talk bad about Giddey in any way. But Giddey is probably going to be able to re-sign at pretty much any price he's dictating if the Bulls can't lose him for nothing. So Joe's back. Joe, you with us?
Yes.
Okay. The last team we wanted to go ahead and talk about, because we talked about Golden State being a major player, but I think also one as well. Oh, Atlanta. We'll talk about Trae Young, if he's going to be traded, legend. So hang on with that. The Chicago Bulls. Does anything from the Chicago Bulls strike your fancy? Vucevic has been talked about constantly about returning to his area, the USC, because remember, he's a graduate from USC. They headed back to SoCal. I mean, stretches the floor, does rebound, can't play defense. So, and he's a little bit costly. But your thoughts on Vucevic, Kobe White, or anyone on the Chicago Bulls roster possibly being of interest to NBA teams out there? DeSumo, that's right. Yes, very good, Mel. DeSumo, very good defensive player. Offensively, he's got a lot of issues though. Still, go ahead, Joe. Joe, you with us? There you go.
Are you talking to me?
Joe. Yes.
Yeah,
yes. Your thoughts on the Chicago Bulls roster? Anyone meet your fancy there? I know it's hard because
I don't trust Chicago as a partner. I don't know what the hell they're doing in Chicago, to be honest with you. I really don't.
Honestly, to what I said earlier, I think let's not fall for that Kobe White thing. I think AO sounds cool and all, but you know who I'm really feeling over there in Chicago is Patrick Williams. I mean, you're not feeling that, Gerald. That
he has got one of the worst contracts in the league.
Okay, so when we're talking contracts, you're right, but I'm talking as far as like a fit. That guy right there reminds me of he
has underwhelmed his entire career, John.
Wow, that's crazy. I personally like Pat, to be honest with you. I personally like Pat. Maybe he's underwhelmed comparatively to what his contract is, but he has a lot of intangibles that you just cannot teach. And
Bacelis is actually going to beat him out for his spot in the starting rotation. So I don't know.
So that's how cheap you could get him for.
Well, he's pretty expensive though. He extended 5 years, $90 million. So you do the math on that one. So
yeah, no, not 100% not worth it for that. But
his PER was 9 for this season.
Ooh.
9. But yeah, I think the average player is around 14, 15, just to give you an idea. So yeah,
his agent did his work.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if
watching him though, you can see a lot of the intangibles you just don't see in other players. But I agree for that contract and all that. I agree, man. And then
he has never put it together. I mean, Mel's saying he's not got enough time. He was starting for quite a bit on this team. I mean, if you look at it, in his first rookie season, he started all 71 of his games. He started 65 of 82 in his third year because he got injured in his second. He started 30 of 43 in his fourth year, and in his fifth year, he started about half of his eligible games, and he's never averaged above 10.2 points a game, John. So yes, I understand he could shoot from the corners very, very well,
defend,
but
very, very well, intangibles, very, very well. But no, again, Gerald, to your point. That contract is crazy. I'm not going for that contract. But if we're talking about Bulls, and that's the topic we're on, all I got to say is don't fall for the Kobe White trap. We don't need another scoring guard to take the ball off Luka's hands. We need a defensive guard that can be put next to Luka so we can try to hide Luka when needed. AO sounds dope. And yeah.
Just Bulls are not trading Kobe White.
Absolutely not. But that was what Gerald asked.
Yeah, why would you even mention Kobe White? That's their star.
He's on one of their cheaper, more valued contracts, and
but they're going to sign him. They're not going to let him go. He's getting better. They're hoping
he's
for
a UFA
White
in 26, Joe. He's a UFA in 26.
That's going to be the backcourt of the future. It's going to be Giddey and White. That's the plan right now in Chicago. Now Vucevic would have been a key part this year, but why the hell would they trade him now when he's an expiring contract unless they're going to go get something that might be better in terms of talent?
Okay.
This Mary person is hilarious.
Yeah, blah blah blah, Mary, blah blah blah, blah
That's
blah
hilarious.
blah. Exactly.
Wait, what happened
Just
now?
get-
What's Mary?
Oh,
Mary
we have
contrary
There's someone in
stand?
the chat,
Horrible.
Gerald, just going crazy. I mean, Joe just going crazy.
Yeah, there's this commenter on Facebook being a troll, and they don't understand that you eat trolls for breakfast, lunch, and dinner, and like to go ahead and get a little troll as an hors d'oeuvre on the side. So, yeah,
That's hilarious.
don't start a battle. You won't win, Mary, because you will not like it if you
Yeah,
get on Joe's bad side.
$2.
will not like
that
it.
person's name isn't Mary.
Yeah,
$2.
exactly.
This person is like in his mom's basement. But
Yeah.
anyway.
Yeah, Zach Collins and Nikola Vucevic are both yikes. Again, defensively, they're not going to really help you in a playoff setting.
But why is Mary mad at Facebook? I mean, I get it. I get it, but what did
Facebook do to you?
What's the
Come
rub?
on. What did Meta do to you? They call it Meta.
You ran across the wrong meme.
I mean,
Exactly.
you got on Facebook and you got on the show. Did some exorcism happen to you where you actually did all that to get on?
You lost your lambs.
How do you just fall into a podcast by accident or being manipulated by Facebook? That doesn't make a lot of sense.
But hey, if you did, it's good to have you.
Yeah,
Good to
stay
have you.
on. Learn something.
But guys, any last teams before we head on out?
No, honestly, I mean, I feel like
to get some more offense.
we touched on a lot. We touched on a lot of teams, and yeah, I mean, the only other team outside. I mean, I guess just to put a bow on it, the way we started. Hey man, the Phoenix Suns. I'm really intrigued to see what the Phoenix Suns do. I really am. I mean, I just want to see what's just gonna happen. Like, how are you gonna get out of this mess? Like, I'm just sitting there watching like this. So
Exactly. I think you and I both will. And at Boston, what are they going to do? Because like Joe says, and like was said in the chat earlier, not just $400 million, they could be $500 million in the hole. And I know that comment was saying that they're more worried about the restrictions on the second text. No, they're worried about the $300 million extra over the cap that they'll have to be paying. That's what they'll worry about. That bottom line is what they're going to be worried about the most. They don't tell you that, but when it is about the money, when they say it's not about the money, it's about the money. It's just that simple. But before I get to Legend, exactly. Joe, any other teams that you're eyeing or thinking that the Lakers might be able to persuade on a deal this summer?
I don't think so. I think either they're going to go big game hunting, and that big game hunting has to be looking towards LA, or Rob Pelinka is going to have to know the talent in this league and know how he's going to bring them on and make them better here with Mr. Riddick. It doesn't look good from past transactions. Does Rob know how to assemble a team? Or will the Clutch faction put that together? They haven't been good at it either.
Yeah, that's for sure. Westbrook and all that, as far as them getting together for the dinner. Yeah. Legend, have you got any teams that you think are going to make some big deals that we haven't discussed before we head on out?
The only two I would say watch for is see what happened with the Giannis situation and watch the Spurs of Houston.
Yep.
Stay connected to him the most.
Yeah, Spurs and Houston, absolutely. They've got Spurs and Houston both have young assets, draft choices, and some salary cap flexibility as of now before all those young players kick in with their second contracts. So yeah, definitely look to see them. And both of those teams want to get better. Houston wants to get to that level that OKC is at now, and they're probably thinking they're one player away. And then San Antonio thinks to get into the mix of the playoff mix to appease to Wembanyama, that they have to go ahead and make one more maneuver and get someone in. I think they're going to dangle that second pick. That second pick, the guard coming out of Rutgers, guys, I don't think is a good fit for them because they already have De'Aaron Fox. So they have to make a choice. Do they want to commit to this young guard or they want to commit to De'Aaron Fox? going forward. So we'll see. And speaking of which, I talked to Stone Hansen earlier this week. He wants to do a show on the NBA draft, which he normally will do once he gets everything all together, and he does a lot of research, especially where the Lakers are at 55. But he's also asking if we could bring back the NBA mock draft. So if you guys are interested in doing an NBA mock draft, if you're out there listening, or if you're here on stage, John and Legend and Joe, if you're interested in doing a show, we've done them in the past, a live NBA mock draft. As it gets closer to the NBA draft, I think we might just go ahead
and do that shit.
And I mean, I'll participate for Stone if he wants me to, but I don't watch anything besides the NBA. So
I'll wait for Costa to show up, which means it won't.
Joe, you're always trying to talk.
I'm down to hop on. I'm down to do it. I don't know a lot about them. But
hold on, I'm drinking water.
Come, Joe. You already got shut up, Joe. I'm already here. So
shut up.
You already lost.
You couldn't shut me up with a freaking ball hammer, man.
No, well, yeah, you got shown up and shut up because I said shown up at first, but
I'm in LA tomorrow. Show up.
Well, you show up. I'm in the Bay Area every
up.
day. You show up.
I'll drive to LA tomorrow, and you can show up.
No, you drive to the Bay Area and show up. How about that?
What are you, crazy?
Well, are you crazy? I'm not driving to LA.
Not driving to the freaking Bay Area. What the hell am I going to do in the Bay Area?
Yeah, I'm not driving to LA. You crazy?
Go to a parade?
When are you going to see your brother? When are you going to see your brother again, John?
Gerald, yeah, that's the shot I was going to throw at Joe. Last time I went to LA, Joe couldn't take the time out of his busy day with a car to come see me when I had
because
no
I went
car.
to Fresno that same weekend.
No, you did. That was the second time. The first time I went. Anywho, it's okay, Joe. I forgive you. But wait, I wanted to say something. Gerald, you were talking earlier about Houston and another team that you were like, oh, they have
San Antonio.
Yep. You're like, they have assets. They're young and this and that. And you were talking about Giannis. But you know what they don't have? They don't have Luka Doncic. They don't have the money of LA, that money that the streets of LA brings you and the bright lights of LA. So Giannis, come on over to the Lakers. And I think that's a good way for me to put a bow tie on this. And YYC, if we played one-on-one, I would kill Joe and blow by him every time. I do this. I really
Sure you would.
I really hoop, Joe. We could put $1,000 on the line. I feel extremely confident.
Wow.
We put more than
you want to put a G
$1,000.
down. You better get ready for Detroit Piston basketball.
Joe, respectfully.
Oh, is that a foul?
Respectfully, I played in college. You are not keeping up with me, Joe.
Oh no, I will keep up with you because
You're not
Bill
keeping
Lambier's
up with
coming.
You're
We're
not
talking about
keeping up with me.
$1,000. You're gonna have to.
We're not keeping. You
better hit every perimeter shot because the second you miss, it's going down low, and it's a layup drill.
First of all, Joe, I want you to realize that the second I get the ball, I'm taking it out. I'm bringing you out. And if you don't respect it, it's going to be cash every time.
You're going to respect elbow.
And if you do respect it, I'm blowing by you every time.
You're going to respect elbow and forearms.
Joe, I'd kill you.
And a high tolerance of pain.
I'm trying to save you your embarrassment, Joe. There was a friend of mine that thought he could beat me. We played a 7-game series, literally swept the kid 4-0, and the kid is out of 150.
I don't know who this kid is, but I don't know why you're comparing me to him.
But Joe, because you don't.
You want to put $1,000 on it, you're not going to go back home.
Joe,
comfortable.
I'm winning $1,000, and
you ain't winning $1,000.
Joe, you're not beating
100%.
Joe, you got to remember
100%.
Joe, you got to remember that there's levels to this in life, and like I really do this.
There's levels.
I really do this hoop shit, Joe.
It's called.
I really do this hoop shit.
It's
Joe.
called horizontal levels for you when you go into the basket.
I really do this hoop shit, Joe. I'm blown by you. Like I'm blown by you. And I'm getting to the basket every single time.
You've seen footage of. You've seen footage of Mikhail and Rambis. You better be ready for that.
Have you seen footage of?
We got to record this game for you.
Yes, we do.
I will drive down from Las Vegas to see this game.
Yes, we do. We can make it happen in the summer because in the summer I'm definitely going to summer league, so I'll be in Vegas. So Joe, take yourself down to Vegas, and we can do this in front of Gerald. Have Gerald do the camera
live. I will air it live on this channel.
I will kill Joe and
might make that flight from Atlanta right there.
Come on.
Well, Atlanta's a great hub. Yeah, so you don't have many excuses. But Legend, before we head on out, please
real shit, Block. Hey, Block, real shit. I am the reason our rec team won the championship here. So real shit, I am huge for the team. I put on, man. I put on championship game. Had a dubski.
Legend, what you got cooking for your great I Got Next Sports Media channel, my friend?
Just did my live podcast earlier today, so definitely check that part out. Definitely plan to do a video discussing the topic of, since we're getting close to that rim, could SGA be possibly the best Thunder player in franchise history if we bring that for a championship title?
And John, what you got cooking on your Lakers corner?
Come check me out, man. Just right now, dropping all type of just shorts. Trying to keep up here with this offseason, and gonna be dropping a offseason plan. I did a offseason like a center targets video, so you guys check that out. But besides that, man, appreciate everybody being here. Greatest Lakers community, man. I was talking to Gerald on, I think it was like 2 days ago when we were talking about streaming. I was like, man, I love streaming with you guys. It's just like weight off your shoulder, just talking hoops. And my girl don't want to hear it. She don't want to hear it. So it's great to talk to talk with y'all, man. So
Xbox, you got to come back on the show when you can, my friend. It's always good to have you on as well. And Joe,
yeah, Mark, where the hell are you, man? You haven't been on the show in like what, 4 months?
Yeah, I know. Yeah, I'd probably say he's working or something.
You broke the news of Luka, and then you retired.
It was too much for him to take. It was like, it's too much.
Joe, I know you're going to be at the game, Dodgers and Yankees on Friday.
Night, yeah.
But Saturday, did you say you were also going to be there?
There's a possibility Saturday or Sunday. Sunday originally was supposed to be no, but something's teetering on Sunday maybe.
Okay.
So I'll let you guys know. We'll talk. Yeah, I'll be there tomorrow.
They picked up somebody. They picked up Diaz from the Reds. I told you they are concerned about the relief pitching, Joe.
They're not concerned about relief pitching. They're concerned about their damn starters not playing and overusing their bullpen. That's been the problem. They're stacked, but they're not playing. They got 8 damn pitches, and only one of them hasn't been on the IL yet.
Okay.
How does that happen? What the fuck happened? Are these guys getting shot at practice? Like, what is going on here?
Speaking of shots, I do hope that you guys get together during, of course, Summer League. John, Joe, I'm here.
I'm just waiting for Joe. I'm telling you, I do this shit. I'm gonna kill him. But hey,
you better hit jump shots.
Joe,
you better hit jump shots the entire time, because I swear to God,
Joe,
you come to the hole, you're
not
getting lit
in front of me, Joe.
You're getting lit up if you go to the hole.
You're not staying in front of me, Joe. Respectfully, you're not as quick as me.
You better hit every shot.
I'm a better basketball player than you.
You better hit every shot.
I will. It'll be a whole bunch of layups.
Because you're gonna get Charles Barkley early 90s post up from me.
I'm worried about that.
You're gonna have to stop
you. I'm ripping you, Joe.
No, you better make every shot.
Joe, you think
you better make every shot? I'm saying right now. You gotta make every shot. Because if I keep backing you down, you ain't stopping me in the post.
If you think you're going to be able to turn your back on me when we check the ball, I'm ripping you, Joe. Like, that's how I know you ain't played a high level player. If you think you're going to be able just to turn your back on me, Joe, yeah, you have not played a real high level hooper. Right. I'm ripping you.
So you don't think he could post up on you, John? Is that what you're saying?
Johnny, how much do you weigh?
I wouldn't let him get the position.
What are you, $140?
You wouldn't. Oh, that's crazy. I weighed that in like high school, but you wouldn't.
Oh, sorry, $160.
You wouldn't get the position, Joe. That's the thing. Like, I'm ripping you.
I'm not getting position down low. All right,
Joe. Because
now we got to play.
Joe,
I got to record.
You got to realize, Joe, we're not playing 5-on-5, right?
Let you get on a plane.
It's not
coming to Vegas, man.
We're playing
Vegas.
We're playing 1-on-1, Joe. You gotta dribble the ball in that position. You're not getting there, Joe. You're not getting there.
Forget about WrestleMania coming back here to Vegas. It's going to be Joe versus John.
Come on now. Hey, Block. I'm telling you, dog. First of all, I'm a lot bigger than that. A lot more than that. And I played college hoops. I do this shit. I played the hoops my whole life, bro. So you know what, bro? If you want to come get this ass whooping, I'll take 2K. Take 1K from Joe, 1K from Block. I'm cool with that.
His name is Black,
Vegas, guys.
Block, whatever his name is. His name is.
I think it's Black.
Block, whatever
Black.
it is.
It's
the same thing. I call him Block.
You want to come to Vegas and put some money on it?
Yeah, Vegas. That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. Look, y'all talk a lot, but I'm putting my money where my mouth is. So, yeah, I'm ready to hoop.
I'm telling you right now, man. We play for money. You're going home.
You're
bleeding.
Gerald. I mean,
you're going home.
Joe,
bleeding.
You're going home out of $1,000. You're not.
I'll find you guys. I'll find you guys an indoor court.
Than me, Joe.
I'll tell you what.
Maybe if we were doing Oklahoma, Joe.
If you do this in Vegas, I will find you an indoor court.
If you find us,
I'll drive you guys there.
If you find us an indoor court, Gerald, if you find us an indoor court, I can guarantee Joe is not scoring.
You're not going to do it outside.
I was
single
talking
bucket. Oh, come on, dude.
Joe, you're going to have to do it at 6 o'clock.
Out of your mind.
Joe, indoor, I'm not missing. I'm literally not missing a jumper indoor.
That's what it's going to take,
especially against you. Against you.
All right.
I'll be honest.
Okay, because you can't do it in the afternoon in 110-degree weather. So you either do it at 6 o'clock in the morning.
Play with the elements.
That's what I was saying, right? I was just saying we could play outside, but if we play indoor, Joe, then it's really
gasping for air, looking for water after one shot. 110-degree weather. You have no idea. You've not played in Las Vegas weather.
You're right. I played in indoor Las Vegas weather. I had AAU tournaments when I was a kid.
Yeah, that's a whole different animal. I'll just tell you that. Yeah, I'll find you a spot indoors.
Let's do it. I'm super excited.
Thameless, come on. Anybody that's on the chat, come on down to Vegas. We'll arrange something. And I got
$1,000.
I like to gamble, so this is up my alley right here.
Yeah.
I got $1,000 on the line for anybody.
I'll see if Stone Hansen's coming. I'll see if Rafael Barlow's coming. We'll see what we can do on that. So
we'll have to do it during summer league.
Yeah, that's perfect. We'll meet in Vegas, and hey, I even got a 24-hour membership. I got a buddy pass. I'll get you in for free, and then take $1,000 from you. But the thing is, if I get you in, I won't be able to get a camera crew.
I love how we just.
That's why they have iPhones.
Oh, okay, Joe. Can you bring a stand for us?
No.
All right. Then we're gonna have to put it on that little blue thing that's right under the rim.
We will be broad. This will be all over YouTube. I'll leave it at that. But once again, it is the Lakers Fast Break. Legend from I Got Next Sports Media. Thank you so much for staying up late with us, my friend. John Costa with Clutch Talk and Lakers Corner, and of course Joe Soro from the Joe Soro channel. Please like and subscribe. Help us all out. In order for us to stay on the air and stay on YouTube, we need your support. Indeed. So for Joe Soro, Legend, and John Costa, it's me, Gerald Glassford. Thanks again for watching, listening. We'll be back hopefully during the weekend. We'll try to get you as much as we can, but also watch the playoffs on playback with us right here at the Lakers Fast Break Podcast.